I wanted to give her a minute just to let you know a little bit about what she was going to cover, and then I'm going to start the TalkWalker demonstration here. We'll do that right away, okay? So I'm going to give her a couple minutes to talk to you about what she wants, what she's going to be doing, and maybe some prep stuff you can do. So, everyone know Denise? Have you guys?
Everybody, how are you?
Yeah.
Hi. I apologize. I looked at the software real quickly the other day, and they told me it's version 9 in here, but actually version 8, which is a totally different. It's user friendly, and so I wanted to make sure they have. And first of all, like some of the project that you're going to work on only runs in version 9, wouldn't work in version 8 because it's a totally different system. The idea really to have revamped it on version 9 of the newest one called version 10. But you do have access to it in Connect. All you had Connect from the audit class, right? Yeah. So what we could do, I mean, in the meantime, if the computer services cannot get reinstalled correctly on these computers, you could open up your Connect account and through the audit software link to send to the library, you should be able to download the demo version for free. I mean, they'll send you a link and you sign up for the version. I'll show you a few minutes how to do that online, okay? But just give me a few minutes to get set up here. I'm trying to figure out how to work around it, but I realize we can't. It's fine. We can't delete the software or anything, so it's a problem, you know. Okay.
Does anybody else not get the TalkWalker while she's just setting up there? Anyone not get the TalkWalker thing? I had a few people who were using different email accounts, and so make sure we got everyone on. Okay. And is anybody not able to get on to Becker besides Jennifer here? Anybody not able to get on to Becker? Okay, you guys are. Okay, we're going to work on that on a break. We'll take a look at it and figure that out. You need some more time, or
just 15 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Maybe what you can do is go ahead and log into the TalkWalker. Although I want to go through some stuff. Don't start putting stuff in it because I want to take you through it first before we start. But and the default password is lowercase, one word, TalkWalker, TalkWalker. And interestingly, it's very similar to IBM Watson, and it's a software that I came across because of one of the MBA students that used it for their project last year. And I spent some time talking to the company, and what they do is big data analytics, and they get source material from Twitter, from other social medias, from wire services, news services, etc. And they have it all out there in a database using Hadoop or one of the other platforms. And they allow you to go in and run sentiment analysis and comparative analysis. And what I want you to get as we go through this is the idea that this could also, it also does allow you to bring your own files in, so internal files as well. So now, because some of you may be thinking, you know, with big data, what is the connection with auditing? Because it sounds great for, you know, sales and credit card companies and stuff like that, but for auditing, you know, it's kind of social media. But, you know, sometimes you pick what you're going to audit based on, you always pick what you're going to audit based on a risk assessment. And what this kind of analysis can do is identify, you know, where are the risky parts of your company. And that can be a lot of external data, and it can even be data from social media, because people are constantly talking about what they think about something. I am so fascinated with this because I think this whole idea of big data gives you this opportunity to do more heuristic type things. You know, like, you know, if I see behavior patterns going on, if I see a C-level executive, you know, making journal entries against provisions of more than a certain amount, send me an alert. And this software actually has the ability to do alerting too. So if I see a C-level executive making or approving journal entries for more than $5,000 or more than 10 of them during a closing period, send me an alert. There's some behavioral thing going on there that just doesn't sound right. Why would somebody be making a whole lot of adjustments to provisions? You know, you put a provision in, and you might do an annual adjustment, and of course provisions are what we do earnings management with. That's the way people manage earnings and commit fraud. And so I can monitor that on a constant basis with big data, and I can monitor patterns. Okay? And I can also look for you know, things in in documents, in contracts, where there's something that doesn't look, that isn't right, or patterns that aren't right. And you can baseline them and then do future ones as well. So I'll take you through it. Don't go in and play yet, but go ahead and get in and see if you can get in okay, because this is the first time I've used this. Yes.
Could you send me the email again? I just noticed my name's spelled wrong, so that's why.
Oh, your name is spelled wrong. Oh gosh. This was like a no-brainer I was doing it while watching Turn on AMC. Okay.
It's just Corey with a D. C-O-R-E-Y.
Oh, and this is wrong too, right?
Yes.
Here, come on up here for a second, Corey. What I want you to do is, my bad.
That's okay.
Just put this in again. That way you can look back with me. And put everyone else okay in there? You all set? So what I'm hoping that you'll be able to do with this software is I'm hoping for those of you, this or Watson, we're going to still try and do Watson. I'm having a little challenge with Watson. It's kind of, this is like a Silicon Valley startup kind of company, you know, and they're more flexible and agile. You start dealing with Watson and they got 15 levels of security that I'm trying to get through to get it set up for you. So, but I'm hoping that you can use this for your projects if you're comparing companies or you're looking at stuff about individuals in companies, or you're looking at some type of accounting process. You'll find this is really flexible for doing comparisons in companies, and really quick too. You can compare companies in a matter of minutes. Everyone all right? Okay, Denise, you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, Denise is going to take a few minutes and introduce what she's going to cover on the 21st. Where do you want to go?
I'm going to show the idea on the screen here.
Okay.
Basically, they have version 8, which is its idea is interactive data extraction and analysis software. It's very similar to the audit command language, is what you've been using already. Although its idea might be easier for some people to use because it's based off of Excel. So, for example, the scripting is very similar to the macro scripting in Excel. So, for example, when I've done projects with IDEA, I can a lot of times use the same coding, which is very convenient. Whereas ACL is a proprietary language, which means that, you know, if you're going to try to repeat something that you did in Excel, but it has to be totally recoded. It's very unique going to ACL. So many businesses have converted now to using IDEA in the audit. I know at least one Big Four firm uses the IDEA for a lot of their detailed transactions, the ledger tests, and plus for sampling. And so, most likely to go to one of the Big Four, or even like one of the smaller audit firms, or also working as an internal auditor of any company that's now using IDEA, because it ports so easily, it works very nicely with Excel. So that's why I'd like to introduce you guys to IDEA. Now, unfortunately, I didn't realize coming into here, I didn't check myself. I thought they told me it was version 9 in here, and I looked at it quickly, and it looked like version 9, but now getting into it today, realizing that it's actually version 8, which is at least 5 years old, and it doesn't work as well. In fact, it's a totally different type of software, actually. So it's not like I could run the scripts and we could do the project work with this version on the computer. So what I'm going to do is show you on my computer the version 9, and also explain to you how you can go in the meantime during the next week or so, particularly if they can't load this in the lab. You can go to your Connect account, and you also have that from the audit class with Professor Helen, I believe, right? Is that your Connect?
Do you guys have that?
Yes.
Still? Okay. If you look at their audit software, there'll be a section, I'll show that in my computer to you in a few minutes, where you can download, actually request a demo version of 9.2 IDEA. and they'll send you the link, and then you go through and you can download on your computer. And you may have to bring your computers at that time. I know that the last night's email, I didn't ask you to bring your computer, but you may need to if the lab cannot download, put in the version 9.
And that will work with Apple as well?
That's the other issue. IDEA is only workable basically with Windows. You can have a partition on your computer, and then you can run it with that.
Does that work, the partition? Or
yes, I mean, that's how it's had. We've both had other students who've used that before, but it's another process you'd have to go through. So ideally, it'd be nice if we could get this corrected on the lab here. So as soon as I'm done here today, I'm going to go upstairs to the lab computer services and talk to them about that, okay? But barring that, if you could download your computer or try to see what you can do about doing that before our next class, which will probably be on the 21st, probably. Then, you know, we could definitely do some more training and actually do the project work. So, but I apologize to you. I mean, it's my own fault. I should have looked at this earlier to see for sure that it was version 9. So as you can see, this is version 8 here, and so it's not nearly as usable. For now, if you can't create your own projects, there's a lot of different coding things. I mean, I would have to totally rewrite the code for what we're doing to be able to use it today, which is, so I'm going to show you what I have in my computer.
switch it to PC.
This is still yours.
Well, that one's right over there.
Yeah, this is the correct. This is like the this is the old version 8, and this is version 9 here. This is what's on my computer here. And you can see, like example, the difference. Like there's a really nice navigation screen here. For example, like where you can create a project here is what we would have done today. Or selecting. For example, you could create a project. For example, this is like the first step we're going to do is create a project in IDEA before we load the data, for example. I've already done that in here. This is like the main data set that we were going to download that I sent you last night. And we were going to run, I can show you some quick, really nice things that IDEA does, for example, the data, for example, for analysis, for example. You can do sampling, like you can do random sampling, which is very convenient. We can select, let's say, 60 records. Let's do a random selection. And there it has there's a totally random sample. So that's why a lot of the firms use IDEA for this particular aspect, because this way you can very quickly run sampling, particularly for large data sets. So Excel does do a lot of this kind of work itself, but it's very slow. If any of you worked in large data sets in Excel, you know what I'm talking about. Anything over 500,000 records, it gets very bogged down. It takes like 10 minutes to run one particular analysis. So that's what's nice about IDEA, is it runs it very quickly. Although the data set that we're working with on the project is going to be very small, relatively speaking, but that's one reason why firms are using IDEA. And ACL has the same capability. So you can see there's a big difference. That one here is, the version 8 here is usable, but it's not going to work for our purposes today. See the example of data. For example, we could do all kinds of things. We could sort the data. We could sort it by, you can choose like whatever attribute you want to sort it by. Let's say we want to do transaction total. And we'll sort it by transaction total. So something it's odd about this. You can see some of the data here, for example. We have a total dollar amount, but then the transaction total is 0. So there's some issues with the data. And actually, when I downloaded the data, I told IDEA, which is a practice you want to do, and most of the time you don't want to have blank fields, so you tell whatever the blank field is, you put in zeros. So in this case, yes?
My question, you said earlier that some of the big four firms are using IDEA.
Yes.
Are they using it in the actual external practice, or is it like in
External practice, yes.
both allowed?
They're using it for like detailed tests, for example, like they're doing duplicate analysis. They're looking for idea can join databases. So if you're doing three-way matches, let's say accounts receivable or accounts purchasing, for example, you can match across invoice numbers. You can do duplicate tests. You can do all kinds of stratification, looking at just see how the data lies in terms of what we're doing right here, for example. You can stratify the data, and they also use it for sampling.
And do you know a particular Big Four that's using it right now, or?
Well, I know KPMG is using it. Yeah, I think some other firms are too as well, from what I've heard. And some of the smaller firms, I know many companies are using it internally as well, in the internal audit side.
The idea has a bigger market in the medium
Yeah, medium
and smaller
size, yes.
businesses, where ACL has a bigger market in some of the bigger companies.
The ACL is using a lot, does a lot of work with risk assessment and risk, risk analysis software. So they have like slightly different products, I believe, in the market than IDEA does. So IDEA has the same kind of type of products also. They have a smart analyzer, they have other types of tools, but their big item here is the IDEA audit software. So you can see we're stratifying here. And we could also look at analysis, and you can see we can do direct square, it's very similar to ACL, where you're extracting the data directly here, for example. You could extract it and include it in their database, for example, or append it to another database. Or you can also look at gap detection, for example, or Benford's Law. Benford's Law is not working too well with the data here. We can look for duplicates, for example. So you could do duplicate and detection, for example, and we could output duplicate records. And we have to generate criteria, for example. We could do an equation editor, for example, in terms of what you're looking for in duplication. Or, so these are all, this is generally what you do with the duplicates. We run statistics, which is very nice. Also summarization, stratification, like I said earlier. So these are all the functionalities that can be done with IDEA. And I'd rather wait until we have time to do it together. So, instead of just showing everything right now and then having to repeat it again. So if you want to get on to, do you guys have access to Connect, or do you want me to show you how you could probably find it on Connect, or do you roughly know where I'm talking about in terms of where it's located in Connect for audit?
We didn't have Connect in audit.
You didn't have Connect?
No, but we did have IDEA software from our audit analytics class.
Okay.
So you may be able to download it.
Perfect, yes, okay. Do you know what version it is?
It's 9, because I
perfect.
still have.
Oh, you have it on your computer?
Yeah, I still have it on my computer, but I know that not everyone has their Windows computer with them per se.
Okay. So, I mean, almost everybody has access to Windows, to IDEA 9 then, right?
Unless it's here. I don't.
Do you have a MacBook, is that why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same. But I use it on mine for my internship computer, so
Okay.
I don't have that computer anymore.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I want to see if right after we're done here, I'm going to go upstairs to Computer Services and see if I can get IDEA 9 reinstalled here, as opposed to having everybody bring in their computers. And if worse is worse, we'll have to deal with trying to help everybody download it on their Apple computers.
I'll support that. Let me know, and Tiff know.
Okay.
They'll tell you they can't do it for some reason, or they can come in and do it here.
Okay.
Because we don't want to eat on here anywhere. Tell them to take it.
No, that is it's like it's useless. People aren't using it anymore.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Tell them.
Yeah.
Let me know if that's a problem. I'll
Okay.
get back to Sally or someone to help us.
Yes, I mean, the version 9 is available online. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I will take care of that before our next class. So hopefully, but we'll have it installed here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I don't want people to worry about trying to download it and partition your computer and everything, and having to do that. Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any questions about the emails from yesterday?
Everyone all right? Any questions?
Okay, so we'll reconvene about the idea in 2 weeks, right?
That'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I'm really sorry again about this.
No, don't worry about it. Murphy's alive and well, right? I mean, one of the things that's been important to me in this class is when we do stuff, and again, whenever you're doing new software, as you know, Murphy is alive and well. So, but is that you guys come out of this class? This is my motive. You come out of this class saying, "Hey, I can use these tools. You know, they're not hard."
Yeah.
Even though we may have technical problems with these computers or the files or whatever, because that's what I want you to get, is you're the technologically savvy generation, and you're the ones that are going to have to introduce this technology in the firms and in the companies that you work for, and you need to be the energy behind that. So don't get discouraged because, you know, some file doesn't work or they don't do things in Mac versus PC. And now that we're going to, a lot of it is going like this one I'm going to show you, it's all web-based. So we're going away from, you know, loading things onto computers. And you know, at Siemens, we're going to what's called a virtual client now, where we're not, no one's going to have a company computer. Everyone's going to have a dumb, you know, just use their own personal computer, and we're going to have double authentication to get into websites, and you're going to get your Excel and your Word. I'm actually right now on my own personal computer. I'm just using online Word and Excel and Office. So that's where we're going to go. So some of this other stuff is going to go away, and it's going to make auditing. Now your whole audit plan and your audit management software is all on the web, and you do everything over the web. Of course, you got to be connected and all that too. So okay, so why don't we jump into? I'll move it up here. Thanks, Denise. Don't worry about it. No. We're glad you came, and we're looking forward to working on it. Okay, so let's get started with this with TalkWalker here. Okay, and let me just go back to the thing. So what I want to do is I put out on Blackboard a little student script. Okay. Just to take you through, and where we're going to go with this is, I'd like to take you through the software, and then I'd like you to work in your. I'm going to give you some time here in class. Work in your groups, and I'd like you to set up and build a dashboard where you're actually going to do a comparison of companies or a review of a company on a risk topic, and we're going to see if we can do that in groups. And what I'd encourage you is, if you're already doing something like that with your accounting research class, and you want to work on that, you know, on actually pulling up the company you're doing with the accounting research class, we can do that as well. Okay, let me just turn this other computer on, and so let me go through it, and then I'm going to show you how to break into groups with it. We want PC here again. You know. Now, if there's any, and we're working in a project, they gave us this on here. This is an expensive software, so they gave us an access to it. So, you know, hopefully it'll work. And then if we have questions, we can go through. So first, let me kind of take you through the software a little bit. Can everyone see there? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically, there's a couple of parts of the software. You have an analytics section. You have, what you start with is accounting settings, which is just setting up users and everything. Yes?
I don't have access.
You don't have access to what?
Our page does not look like that.
It says that we don't have access to the project, so I don't know if you maybe didn't share the project with our.
Oh, really? No, you should be in the project. Let me see your screen. So that's what I wasn't able to see. Let's see what you see. Okay. Project, and if you click on it, there's no project in there. Because you're in on my account, and he told me that you would have access to it. Okay, all right. Well, let's wait anyway. Let me go through it, and then let me see if there's something I have to do to share the project. I can even call the guy during our break to do that. So what you're gonna see when you go in is you're going to see this screen here, okay? And what it does is it gives us projects that we can select, okay? And I'm going to take you through a little example. So with topics and project settings. So I'm going to go to this little wheel here you're going to use a lot, okay? And here's where you can add topics. So I set up a couple of topics here that I've been playing around with. One was looking at an individual company. One is looking at an individual, so you can do big data analysis on an individual. and one is a comparison I'm going to take you through that I did between two companies. And this is called a group here. So I set up a group called Rod Master and Siemens and General Electric, and that's the one that we're going to actually go through. So what you do, the way you set it up, and I'm going to take you through this little script here that I put out on Blackboard under TalkWalker, okay? So you log in and enter your ID. I wonder what I got to do to share that project with you. I'm going to call the guy in the break here, and I'll find out, because he told me you guys, because I logged you in under my my project through the MBA class, and I thought you'd be able to see the project. So, but okay, so let me take you through just how it would work here. So what you do is first you select a topic, okay, and the way you do that is if I go in here, I can just add a topic here, all right, and what you do is you put in a search query here. So I can put it, like, let's say I'm looking at, if I'm looking at Siemens, all I'm going to do is type Siemens in here. Let's see here, make it come up here. Okay, so what I did is I put Siemens in the search query here, and then I put Siemens in the topic label, and that's going to make Siemens a topic. So that's the company I'm working on. And then right here it says search syntax, okay? And you got to put the syntax in a very specific way, because it has operators. And when you do your project, you're going to think about what it is you're looking for. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to look at someone's name, or I want to look for several different companies or several different things, I have to use operators, and the operators always have to be in capital case, okay, so it doesn't confuse. If I say I want to see Siemens and GE, I can write Siemens, and then I put Siemens just with a capital, and then Siemens, and then I put the word "and" in capital letters, because I want to make sure that you know, it doesn't look for the word Siemens and the word "and" the word General Electric. So "and" is an operator. So you don't need to do it right now, but I want you to go through the syntax here before you set up your case. The other thing I'd like to do is,
Tiffany, if you could do me a favor, just so we can keep going on this, if you would call this guy's cell number, Jonathan, and ask him how we get them access to the project. We have all their names in, and I'm teaching it right now, but just ask him how we get access to the project. That's called his cell number there. This time you're working with me on this, and see. If not, I'll call him on the break. Okay. So this gives you incredible, and remember now, we're not talking about structured data like we were doing in ACL. Here we're talking about big data. So everything is up for review, and we're looking at social media feeds. So you got to be really specific about what you're looking for. Otherwise, you could get huge numbers of hits, okay? And you want to make sure you want to be real specific about what you're looking for. And it's not that complicated, except every tool, whether it's Hadoop that they talked about with IBM, or Watson Analytics, or TalkWalker, the syntax is a little different. So then, just to show you some of the things you can do, so you have your typical "and", you know, so here's an example. If I have BMW and bikes, I want to look up BMW and bikes every hit. Then I want to put the word BMW, because that's you know, is capitalized. That's a word I'm looking for. The word and bike will find all entries mentioned the keyword BMW and the keyword bike. If I were to put that "and" as a small letter, it's going to look for everything that says BMW, everything that says "and everything that says "bike." And that's not what I want. Okay, you track it with me? Okay, and then you can exclude certain things. Okay, I can exclude certain words. Okay, BMW and not. It excludes the word, but only notion bike is not contained in the same article. I have "or", okay, that's when you're looking for multiple things. I can exclude keywords, you know, not coupons. If I want to look for a phrase, so I'm going through a group of contracts, and I want to look for phrases that say incompatible, or I'm doing a fraud investigation, I'm looking for something that says investigated, or committed fraud, or other statements like that. You're getting attacked by a bug there. Then I can put things in quotes, and that will give me the exact words, okay? Then I have combinations, okay? BMW and motorcycle, or, remember that or is capitalized, or car. Then I can do wild card searches. So if I'm looking for every, part of everything that starts with Luxem, and I want to find every occurrence of Luxembourg or Luxembourgish or whatever, I can put that, okay? And I can look at one character. I can look at proximity of searches. A statement released in the White House said Obama and Merkel agreed on certain steps, and 3 jumps between the words. I can find an entry containing the words Obama and Merkel with an interval of up to 5 jumps. So wherever I see them, that close, I'm going to pull that up. Then you guys know what fuzzy logic is? Fuzzy logic is finding things that are close to what you're looking for. And that's one of the powers of some of these softwares now, is that sometimes you're looking for duplicates, for example, and the invoice number is very similar, but it's not the exact number, because when it was faxed to somebody, it was crooked on the fax machine and cut off the first digit, but everything else matches. That's a fuzzy logic match, and that's one of the things you want to do when you start to work with big data and analysis, is look for things that are close. Because again, to the question that was asked earlier, it's sometimes it takes more management judgment to determine what you're looking for. Okay? Then you can do raw data searches just on keywords using character strings. You can use near operators, or like a proximity search, sentence structures, and then they have all kinds of advanced things where you can do title searches, content searches, hashtag searches, searches just for authors within a certain country. You can look at retweets. So if you're looking at social media data, you can look at only things that are retweets as opposed to tweets. How many in here use Twitter? You guys use Twitter a lot? Yeah. I don't really use Twitter. My wife uses Facebook, so.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah. It is one of the. It's a huge database. It's one of the ways that they're gaining a lot of information. Okay. Then you can do, you can look for video, and again, we're talking big data now, so you can look for video, you can look for tags, you can look for post type searches, only show me images that were posted by this company, that kind of thing. Okay? And then you can do URL-based searches. I'm only looking for this URL or something that looks like this URL. Metric searches. So you get an idea, YouTube, I can look for all dislikes on YouTube about Siemens, or all dislikes on Twitter or Facebook about Peter. I can pick on, and then you can do searches based on timestamps too. I'm only looking for things between this date and this date. Okay. And then even geographic restrictions, just by country or area. So just a plethora of things that you can look at when you're using these kind of tools. So all I do then is I put in here Siemens, and I put the name Siemens, okay? Then I can go down and I can add a filter, okay? So a filter would be something like here, what I did is I selected a couple filters. One called risk and one called investigation. So now when I go in and look at GE and Siemens, which we're going to do in a minute, I can look for GE and Siemens related to just the word risk. So anywhere in any of these social medias, any of these print medias, any media anywhere in the world, or within internal documents if I want to, I can look for the word risk. And then I made another operator here that says risk or investigations. So anywhere that Siemens or GE is being investigated for something. Now, I want you to make this connection. We also, I don't have it, but I could link this to internal data. And I could look for, against tables I have, I could look for where, C-level executives are adjusting provisions or approving journal entries that adjust provisions. I could put any kind of search in there on structured or unstructured data. okay? And look for behavior. So I could use both external things to help identify risk and internal things. And I can write analytics and alerts around that, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. Okay? So this is, you know, pretty easy. So I can add filters, and I can put any kind of words or combination of words. So whether you're doing a sales sentiment analysis, what people think of your company, or you're doing an audit, a specific compliance or strategic or operational or financial type audit, I can put operators in that will tell me, you know, what these things are doing here. So, okay, so that's how you add them, and then what you can do, and what I want you guys to do is when we get on the tool here, I want you to add. I want you to pick the companies or whatever you want to do. Pick the filters you want to use. Like I went through and I picked two of them, Siemens and General Electric. And I put two filters in, one called risk and one called risk for investigation. And then what I want you to do is, as you add those companies, I want you to add them to a group, okay? Add a new group and put in, for example, and I'd like you to use the same groups that we're using in the class here. So group 1 or group 2 or group 3 from our little list here that we have, right? This here. Right? So, and that way I want you to work on a little project. I want you to build for me a dashboard using big data analytics in this tool, right? And we'll do it in class. We're going to do it, you know, because I want you to get a feel for what you can look at. And you can look at anything you want, and if you want to switch your groups around because of your accounting research class and do some work for your project, because I'd really like to see if we can make this work. Some of you, you know, you can use this in your project work, you know, in your research project. So. Okay, so that's the setting up. So there I'm setting up topics and I'm setting up custom filters. Okay, so this is basically getting the base data that you're going to use. This is the first step. Okay, and that's step 1 on, or step 2 on logging the TalkWalker. And I put some screenshots in on here out on the internet or out on the Blackboard to show you. Okay, so all right, then the next step is. Now we have our topic, so we pick Siemens and General Electric, and we pick 2 filters, okay? So now I'm going to go, did you get a hold of them? Oh, okay. Oh, I got to do it for each individual. Okay. Yeah, try it. Or try it with one, and then let's make sure that it works. Okay. So she's going to try to pick on Jennifer or someone there. Okay. Because I'm not sure. He told me not to make everyone administrators, but if that works, that's fine. Well, that's what I'll do. I might have put you in as users instead of administrators. So we'll figure it out. So go ahead, Tiffany, try it. See what happens. So. Okay. So now what I do is see that this is the home one here. Okay. So you have your home. This isn't hard. You have your project set up here, topic set up and project set up, and we're only going to do this one project because we only get one project with our $1 million license they're giving us for 2 months. Now I don't know how much it is. I'm actually going to find out how much it is, but we'll do that. And then you have your analytics, which is really the meat of it here, and we're going to do some analytics. Then you have a dashboard builder, okay, and then you have these IQ apps. And what I'm going to show you here is you can do your own analytics, okay, or they have preset analytics that look at things like brand listening, competitive intelligence, social channel analytics, crisis, hashtag tracking, campaign monitoring, etc. But what I want you to keep in mind here is we can add with our own analytics, we can put in audit analytics, we can put in monitoring analytics, we can put in strategic analytics, we can monitor any company, okay? So I'm going to go to the analytics tab here, and this is what's really cool about this. This is, and what they claim is you can't break this thing, okay? So in the analytics, I've got folders here, okay? And I'm gonna do the Siemens and General Electric one, okay? So the first thing I'm doing is all I did was put what I just showed you in step 2, just put Siemens and General Electric in, okay? And I've got 118,000 hits over the last 7 days. Okay, wow. So I can convert this now. I can go to 1 day, and it does everything in real time. It produces these in real time. You know, this is we came across a report Okay, now I've got, in the last day, there's been 19,000 hits. Let's do the last year, if I have enough memory for this. And we're going to see how many hits. This is just Siemens and General Electric without a filter yet. I haven't put the filter on yet. I'm going to put the filter on it in a minute. Okay, so we've got 646,000 hits in the last year for Siemens. And let me tell you a story that happened at Siemens, actually. We found a company, or we found a report from a company called RepRisk. And it did risk analysis on Siemens versus a whole pool of our competitors, which was GE, ABB, Philips, and others. And we were shocked by this report because it actually had us, at one point, more risky than GE. And we thought we were a German company, we were more conservative than GE, we wouldn't be more risky. But it was based on, and this one RepRisk only did media type reports. And it gave, I should show it, I don't have it on the stick here, but it gave us a really detailed look at news articles from non-government sources and showed us how we ranked in terms of risk against GE in specific areas of compliance and in specific locations around the world. And we were so fascinated with this report because it looked like something that someone spent weeks and months and millions of dollars to produce, and you could buy it for 500 Swiss francs from this company, for any company you want. And it's just fascinating. And then when I saw this software and what IBM Watson can do, I realized that we can do this stuff in a matter of minutes. What I'm showing you here today, you can do in 5 minutes on any company you want. Yes?
So does this, can it kind of read and understand the text of the different articles it's seen? Like, I had a friend who would, he did kind of working from home where he would read articles about companies.
Yeah.
His job was basically to evaluate, is it overall a positive or negative portrayal of the company, and the goal is to do it very quickly. And can it look at like text, like the unstructured, and say this is a positive article about Siemens? This is okay.
Yeah, it has. Now remember when IBM brought that stuff up in the last class, they showed the quality of the data, the quality of the data rating. So some data you can be more, and I'm going to show you that. This does the same thing. It shows you whether the whether the risk is positive, negative, and what it does is it takes other words in algorithms that have already been developed to say, for example, if it said Siemens has reduced risk by incorporating internal controls, then it reduces the risk, But that's a great question. So yeah, it does read in context. And what you got to realize is, I had a little party down at my house this weekend. There were 2 New York lawyers there that I didn't know. They were friends of a friend, and they told me how their job is primarily going through contracts, huge legal briefs, and looking manually. And you just described people's jobs. There are a lot of people today that their job. I have a cousin whose job I think he was doing it for Martha Stewart's show or one of these sitcoms, and his job was to go through the press every day and try and evaluate. There's people that do that for Obama today, or the presidents, and they go through and they read all the press articles to see what the sentiment is about a candidate or whatever. I mean, massive. And how effective could you be at it? With all the media sources, how effective could you be at that? Well, you can use this technology and put those parameters in those keywords, and you could go through a legal brief probably better than any human being could in a matter of seconds. And what I'm going to show you today, this was produced. You can produce this in 5 minutes, and get a real feel for Now I think again to the question that. But Sophie asked is, how do you make sure that people understand this stuff? And so as you're going through this, you want to make sure that people really understand that your judgment level becomes higher, the demand for judgment becomes higher, and at the same time the quality of what you're getting is increased significantly. So now we have 646,000 hits over the past year on Siemens and GE. And the other amazing thing about this is the optimization. This does this I'm going to go back to the 7 days, okay? So this does this in a matter of seconds. You know, and why? Because it's using optimization technology and Hadoop and some of these other technologies. So we're going to go back to 118 in the last 7 minutes, okay, or seven days. All right, and then I have these filters, okay, and I'm going to open all the filters here. So this is the things that this thing is doing. It's looking at news medias, which is online news agencies, magazines, TV, radio, press releases, wire services. It's looking at blogs in all of these countries, in all of these languages. So I can switch this to other languages too. So I'm looking at blogs that are being written in Africa, Europe, North America, South America. It's looking at forums. It's looking at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, broadcast, print media, newsletters. And then I can exclude any of these. And then I can do what's called pinning them. So the ones that have the pins on them, they're the ones that are going to show up right above my analytics, okay? I got all languages. I can show all types of themes, including brands, emotions, events, and people. I can do content, both audio, imaging, and video. I can filter on devices. I can filter on tags or hashtags. Okay, so I have a huge amount of things that I can filter on. I can pick it, and I can go and I can pick specific dates. So if I don't want the last 7 days, but I want, let's say we had a corruption thing happen in our company, and we want to look at what happened between certain dates. I can go back and look at just between those dates to see how the sentiment changed right after we had the fraud happen, and then how it got better before then or after then. Okay, so okay, so let me close the filters here. All right, so what I did is I selected these filters, okay, for Siemens and GE, and I selected Siemens and GE, and I selected these filters, and I can have 10 other companies on here. So what we're going to do is when you guys get on, we're going to have group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4 in here, and you can pick your companies, you can pick whatever you want to look at, okay? And on the custom filters that we defined earlier, I'm just going to put risk and risk investigation. So first let's look at the data here, okay? And let's just look at it as raw data before we put a filter on it. So what I have is I have GE is the blue here, okay, or the green, and this is Siemens. So of the total hits, GE had 68% or 80,000. Siemens had 32% or 37,000. And that might make sense because in terms of revenue, GE is a $140 billion company, $160 billion company. Siemens is about a $100 billion company. So, you know, there might be more press, and, you know, and they're both international companies, okay? So then I have, before we put a filter on, let's just look at the raw data. And look what it does here. It shows me all of the articles, videos, newsletters, Twitter things where this data is coming from. So what I can do is on any given day, okay, I can drill down here and I can look at what those 640 or 900 results were here. I can click on this and I can drill down and it'll bring up, you know, what events happened during that time period. And I can drill down in these 32%. All right, now I have here results. Okay, we're just looking at Siemens. If I want to add another one, I just click on that and turn that blue. So I'm looking at Siemens and GE here. Now this is what's really cool. Watch this. Now I want to see what are the media types. Okay, I can look at results, performance, influence, sentiments, demographics, world map, and then within that I can look at countries, regions, languages, genders, smart themes. So let's just look at some of these here. It's really fascinating. So if I want to see media types, okay, I click on this. And again, this is hundreds of thousands of data. And so now I see that for this information, 37% of it came from Twitter, 32% from online news, blogs were 17%, forums were 42%, TV and radio. So it's actually doing verbal text, you know, and looking at it. Facebook was 32%, YouTube was 64%, Okay, that doesn't add up to 100, no. Or, oh, okay, that's within, okay, within each group here, okay. Within, yeah, that's really interesting. And then it shows the individual ones here. All right, then I can look at sentiment, and to your question earlier, and again, look at how fast this is doing this. This is like seconds, you know. And so with sentiment, now I'm looking at, so how much of the 116,000 for both companies was positive, 35%, neutral 28%, and negative 43%. So that's kind of interesting that a lot of the press was, you know, was negative. So if I want to just look at the negative 19,000 or 16.8%, I can click on here, and now it's going to give me a drill down, and it's going to show me, and again, some of these are in different languages. So name as BMW, Bayer, and Siemens, they worry about currency. So there's a negative thing about currency. France offers €1 billion to revive India's combat jet engine that was, you know, that GE was supplying. Now someone else is supplying. So these are risks, and even Bernie Sanders is in there. So these are the actual articles. Now I can go and read the article too if I want. So you know, it's just, you know, fascinating how much detail I can drill down into on any of these. So these are the media types. Now watch this. Then I can go to countries and regions, or let's do this. Let's go to let's look at performance as opposed to just results. Okay, and it shows you a chart showing, you know, reach versus engagement. Let's go to media types. Let's go here, and then watch this. I go to world maps. All right. And I can see around the world where all this stuff came from. Oops, let me go back here. Let's do world maps and sentiment. Okay. So now I can see where is the negative and positive things about Siemens and GE coming from around the world. Okay. So if you look at this map, the negative is the red. So you can look at, and it's interesting that U.S. and Europe are pretty similar. New Zealand, for some reason, has some real negative things about, well, there weren't that many of them. You know, a lot more neutral comments from South America. You know, so only positive from Greenland, but there was only one. So this gives me a look at how the world feels about us. Okay. So now let's, and I can do the world map for any of the themes, okay? Even gender, and I don't exactly, I gotta tell you, I'm learning this with you. Yes?
I had a question about the sentiment analysis. Are you able to see how they decide which words are positive and negative? They show a dictionary with you, or no?
Now, you could. I think they would. In fact, there's a whole bunch of documentation for this too that I didn't actually have a chance to review all of it, but yeah, they'll tell you their algorithms. That, right. I'm sure some of them are proprietary, but you know, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. All right, now this one's interesting. This is gender, and it's female is you know, and this is the source of the article, so or the information, whether the gender. Now I don't know what's significant about that or why that really matters, unless you were looking at something about you know women's rights or something like that to see who's writing the articles or something. But just fascinating that you can. So in the U.S., you know, most of the articles or information is coming from men. Some, you know, it looks like, you know, it's about Indonesia. It's about half and half. So you know, just fascinating that how that is you know, significant. But again, I want to remind you that we could have in here. We could be doing this for internal data as well and looking at things, okay? So then let's go through, so that's where I can, or wait, let's go through now and let's add some risks on here. Let's add the word risk. So now we're doing an analysis for audit purposes, and I could put, you know, other words in here as well. So let me go back to results, and oops, I somehow left that one. Let's put Siemens. So all I'm doing is clicking Siemens. And again, if I wanted to compare Sarah Brin to this too, they're just a small company. I was just looking up because I saw them at a friend of mine was involved with it, and I just wanted to see what they're doing. So here I have my 118 clicks. Now I'm going to look up the word risk or investigation, okay, and see what happens. So again, now we're going through and applying. Do you see how fast I did that? So we went from 100 and whatever it was, 60,000. We went down to 2,000. So there's been in 7 days, there's been 2,000 mentions of the word risk or investigation with Siemens and GE. Now what's kind of interesting is the share of the topics now is almost the same, you know? Remember, the percentages are almost the same as the overall activity. So, you know, so the word risk or, you know, and here's some of the things where these are all the articles that came up. What happened to the, you know, 40.8 million this, Siemens rolls out new wind turbine with offshore, which has risk because offshore is more risky than onshore. Double standards, GE handles the unisex part of growing startup entrepreneurs. Secret German World War II code machine found on eBay for $10. You know, I mean, these things could be a problem for Siemens because someone finds something that they were involved in World War II or something. Okay, so this is just an example of some of these things. Okay, so and then you know, so I can see where they're coming from. Now let's look at that for sentiment. Let's look at risk analysis. So well, you'd expect that most of the places where risk is mentioned in these 2,000 results, it's negative, not positive. Right? So that we see that some of it's neutral and some of it's actually positive, and that's probably where we remediated some type of problem or something. Okay? So I can go through, and again I can look at this by a world map, and I can see where the negatives and positives are around risk, okay, and determine which. So what I'm really determining here is, you know, which of these companies is more has more issues with risk and investigations. Which ones has had more problems? And it looks like it's consistent. It's pretty consistent with performance. It's pretty consistent with the overall data. So we both had similar problems, and that might be expected in an industry where you have, you know, the same. Now, what if I looked at the overall hits on Siemens and GE, and then I put in the word risk or risk and investigation, and I saw 100 times more things with Siemens than I saw with GE? That would tell me there's some real issues and some things we need to look at. And I could go through. I'm not going to do it for the class here, but I could go through these filters, and I could take out you know, I could take out the Twitter stuff because maybe I don't want that noise in there, and I could just look at print media, or I could just look at media in Europe because maybe the biggest issues are in Europe, and see how Siemens compares in Europe with GE in terms of risk. And this could be how I might, you know, define my audit going forward. I might say, you know what, our biggest risk areas based on actual media and things that have happened, or on internal things, is in the Asian rim. So we're gonna develop our audit plan to do more things in the Asian rim. So what I'm showing you, I'm tracking just with these notes here that I made for you too, but there's also a help manual and stuff in there, okay? So now let's take a look at, you know, this is where we're defining our own key filters and everything. So let's go down to these IQ apps here, okay? And let's look at these two companies and compare them for competitive intelligence. So to see, and these are preset analytics that they're using here. I mean, isn't this cool? Look how fast this does this. This blows me away, you know. So, and I don't claim that I understand all. I need my rate companies here. Let me go back here. So what I'm doing, I have to keep making sure I select Siemens and GE here. Hold on, that other company doesn't really matter. But the speed that this does this work is just unbelievable. And this is why this Hadoop and some of these other things they talked about with IBM is so incredible, because it's made the availability of data of all types just unbelievable. Okay. So I want to go to my IQ apps. Okay, and let's go to competitive intelligence. Make sure I get the right companies here. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to select it again here, so I'm going to brought these two up. And you can do it on an individual, so you can run it on yourself if you want to see, you know, what people are saying about you on Twitter. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to do. Okay, I get. I'm just trying to take these others off of here. I don't want these topics on here. Transfer Siemens. And General Electric.
I think if you click on Sarah Brittany and Michael.
Yeah, just click on one.
It unselects.
Yeah. Yeah, that took him out, right? I can't get rid of Sarah there, huh? Let's see. There we go. Okay. No, it's still. You mean click up here, right? I want just Siemens and General Electric. There's General Electric. There's Siemens. I want to get rid of this one. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me just get this done. Go. Tip, what did you find out about getting them on?
They're on.
Oh, you're on? Okay, good. Isn't she a genius? Let's give her a big hand. Okay. How come it's not coming off of there? All right, well, let me just do this here and take it off. Because I want to go through the whole thing here so you see everything here. Okay. And I want this one off. I want this on. This on. Okay. Now I want to go to IQ, analytics. Do competitive intelligence. Okay. So what this is going to do is give me a comparison. I can't get Sarah off of there for some reason. Okay. It's got these two selected, right? Yeah.
Sarah Brand.
Yeah, it's got Sarah Brand and C. Well, whatever. Okay. So yeah. So this is reach versus engagement, and that's an interesting thing around. And then it shows you the sentiment analysis, negative and positive. You can see Sarah compared to Siemens has a lot of negative ones. Then it gives you the top countries and languages where things are coming from, which is fascinating. Then it gives you that world map to see distribution around the world map. Okay. All right. And then what I can do is I also can put alerts on. Okay. So I can set up some of these analytics, and then I can say, I want you to send me an alert whenever there's a significant change. And what I can't show you in the class here right now, but it'll actually help. I can save all these to dashboards, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But I can put an alert on, okay? And I sent one to myself that the trigger type is type of trigger is whenever there's a change to the schedule, whenever there's some kind of change, it's going to let me know. But what I want to point out is that what we could do is we could put an alert on that says, you know, if the risk score, you know, this would take some additional coding, but it can be done, and I talked to the guy about this. If the risk score for Siemens on, you know, risk and investigations rises above 30%, or becomes, you know, more than 50% of what GE's is, send me an alert and let me know. So I could start putting analytics that would help me measure the risk of my company. I was on the phone yesterday with a lady from PwC, who I'm involved in you know, they're doing the new COSO standard for enterprise risk management. And one of the things in the COSO standard is to use more technology in order to do risk, and I'm going to talk about risk later on if we have time in class today. But And so we have key risk indicators and key and how to monitor risk in a company. And this is, I was telling her, I said, I showed her this tool, and I said, this is what we ought to be using, because now I can evaluate the risk of my company in a very analytical way, and I can go in front of the board, and I'll show you how easy this is to do, and put these charts up and show them where the risk is, and I can have alerts that are going to tell me when my risk profile changes, and I can have action steps or response plans put in place so that as risk changes, I'm going to start doing something about it. You know, like I said, I mentioned earlier, when we saw this rep risk report at Siemens, we were like shocked that, you know, the perception that we may have had internally was different than the perception that the marketplace had about us, and so then you develop branding strategies and how do we change our image as being a high-risk company. You know, Siemens is not, by the way, a high-risk company, but you know, if you suddenly find out you're a high-risk company, and it could have nothing to do with anything happening internal in your company, it could have to do with the market. So I can put an alert on here, so now it's not quite closed-loop escalated alerting that we'd like to have, but it's alerting. Still can't get Sarah to get out of here. So what I'm going to do is delete it later. Okay, so then what I can do here is now I can also build a dashboard. So I can output any of these analytics to any report that I want, to PowerPoint. And I'm going to show you how to do that because I'd like you to do that for the class. You don't have to put it on a slide or anything, but go up to there. Okay, put this one, put Siemens and GE back on. Okay. So what I can do here is on every one of these charts, there's a little 3 dots here, okay? And the 3 dots allow you can either expand the chart, the 3 dots allow you to move the chart onto a dashboard, right? This would be a visualization that we talked about in the article, okay? So let's say I want to bring, you know, these 2 charts comparing Siemens and GE. So I just click on here, okay? And I add to a dashboard, and I can add to an existing dashboard, or I can make up a new dashboard. And if I want to make up a new dashboard, I just drag my cursor onto here, okay? And I can make up a new I can add a new dashboard, all right? And I just fill in the name and description of the results over time, and I can even make the filters active on that dashboard, okay? But I already developed the dashboard for this, just as a demonstration, so if we can look at that one. Okay, I can also, here, I can go through and I can output this to a PPT file. I can output it to PDF, Excel, or Word. I can add it then to a report, so I can build, you know, in 5 minutes I can build a report. So let's just go in here for a second and look at what a dashboard looks like. So here's a dashboard for GE versus Siemens, and all I did was hit those 3 dots and I put it, okay? So now I'm sitting in front of the board and I'm going to say, here's a comparison of risk of GE versus Siemens, and we had 118 results. This is the share of topics. Of our results, we had General Electric had, you know, this many that were negative. We had this, so maybe we're less risky on a negative versus positive. And then I even included in it, you know, here's some of the well, I did before. I had articles on here. Here's some of the articles that support it. Okay. So what I would like to do after the break here in class is I'd like to have you guys go through, and I'll take you through it in the beginning. And I'd like you to set up. Well, first of all, any questions? Those were good questions you asked earlier. Yeah.
I had a question. Is it possible that we could build this as a component of accounting research class presentation?
Yeah.
Because all the groups have, except for the one with the continuous dashboard.
Yep.
All of them have like 2 companies they're comparing.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm doing it, or I was going to do it later in class, but I rushed it up. I'd like to do it now because that's what I think the opportunity is. You could use these charts and this actual research while we have this license to do your comparisons. That was my suggestion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Would you guys like to try to do that?
Because you'll cut through a lot of, you can do a lot of surveys of the companies and all this other stuff, and you still got to get the internal data from them that you're doing for your research project. But this is where, from my vantage point, you're using analytics, which is what this class is about, to incorporate it in. To me, this is an outstanding tool. When I saw it, I said, man, because one of our MBA students last year used it for their project, and it was excellent.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you all use it. It's fine. It fits. You guys think? Would that make sense? To maybe do that? Yeah. I mean, you can also use ACL and some of the other tools we're going to show. And I am planning to show you Watson here as soon as I get it working. But so what I'd like to do then is have you go through and break into your groups, and I'd like you to set up, and the output, and I'd like to even finish in class today if we can, is just to produce a dashboard comparing some companies, okay? Or if you have something else you want to chase down, and with the filters, okay, you can go through and you can decide, I only want to look at social media feeds, or I don't want to look at social media feeds, and you can take them out, or maybe you're only interested in North America, but it's kind of cool to get all of it, because then when you go here and you do your world map thing, it gives you a really clear picture. This is what just amazes me, is how fast this is, because it's just incredible that it can be that fast. I think I did take Sarah Barron out of there, and Michael. Okay, so and again, all you're going to do to build that dashboard is just for each group. So what I want to do is let me go through this again so you're clear on this. We go up to the little wheel here, okay, and we're going to set up topic setup, all right? And I want you to go through. We only have one project. We have to do it all within the one project, is what he told me. So you're going to add your topic, okay? And then you're going to come down here, and you're going to, when you add a topic, you're going to add it to, you're going to come down here and you're going to name your group. So just call it group 1, group 2, group 3, whatever your group is. So you put your first company in. You got to put the query in here, which is the name of the company. But do check this syntax, okay? Make sure that you're, if it's a company with 2 words, make sure you're putting it in right. It's okay to put in Siemens or GE or General Electric, but follow these syntax if you're going to, put in other words or something, okay? Just to make sure you get the right thing. And you can run it, and if you get 4 million hits, you probably might have missed something there. It might be looking, if you had the word "and" in small letters, it would go through every place the word "and" is. And what they told me, and maybe you guys can prove them wrong, is that you can't break the software. So let's see if we can break it. Meaning it doesn't jam, it just works, it just goes. So does that make sense? So what I want to do is let's take our 15-minute break here, and then we'll come back and we'll get you started on it. And again, first time teaching it here, so this software. But I was up at 11 o'clock last night playing with this, thinking this was so cool, looking up companies and doing stuff. So I'm not, my biggest challenge in this class is to be far, Tiffany and I together, and be far enough ahead of you guys on the software. But my real goal here is really, our real goal is to just have you come away saying, shoot, I could use this. You can't imagine the impact you have. Like I said at Siemens, we were shocked when we saw a report like this that we paid 550 francs for, which is cheap. But if you wanted to do this kind of analysis for your company, and a small company can do it too, because they have Twitter feeds and press, and that's why I put that Sarah Barron in. That's a startup company, and I found 34 hits over 7 days. So there's some people are talking about it.
How much does that cost?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. But yeah. But let me tell you this: any of you can get a demo version and use it, in the firm in a job to demonstrate what can be done. And we can bring in external files too. We had external files. So the government is using this. A lot of big companies are using it. And it's the same type of thing as Watson, IBM Watson. I just got to figure Watson out here to get up. But this is the future. This is how we're going to do. We're going to do auditing with both structured and unstructured data. Then we can look at forensic things, behavioral things, etc.
Any questions? Anybody? Okay, so why don't we take 15 minutes, come back quarter after, and we'll get started in our groups, and I'll come around and help you, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, let me do one thing before we start here. I got rid of my other, I see some of you have already setting up your groups, so let me just show you these. These are these IQ things here, okay? And so we're looking at reach versus engagement. We're looking at share of voice over time. Okay, this is about, and you can see GE has got a lot more than Siemens in some cases, and 65%, 71% over the time. And then we got the sentiment analysis, negative versus positive. And then I got this to work. I couldn't get rid of that Seraphim, but so now this is who's talking. Where are these results coming from? And you can see, a lot of it's coming from the United States, which you'd expect. But look, less of it's coming from Siemens, and Siemens has more coming from other countries, including in Europe and stuff. Top languages, General Electric, as you'd expect, is mostly English. Siemens is English. German, which you'd expect, because it's a German company and a mixture of others. And then this interesting thing, again, I'd like to understand more what this male-female dynamic is. What does it matter, whether something's coming from a female author versus a male author? I don't know, And then this is the distribution. So this is all, this is one of the IQ ones here. It shows you what, where General Electric and Siemens, where the apps, where the stuff is coming from. And then with any of these, I can then, again, just hit my 3 things, and I can add it to a new dashboard. So let's go ahead, each group work on some companies you want to work on, and you're going to have this tool available to you, outside of class here. You can use it anytime, anywhere on the web until the middle of August or so when we lose it. So, and let me know if there's issues, because I want to get back, and make sure that we got what we need to do it. So why don't we, go ahead and break into your groups and work together or whatever, or communicate, text one another, whatever. And then ask questions. If you need help with anything, let me know. Let's just go through and learn the tool a little bit, all right? Again, my goal is that you come away saying, hey, this isn't hard to do. If I can do it, anybody can do it.